In the previous video, I shared with you my conviction that without Christian missionaries, there would be no Aboriginal people in Australia. Why is that? Well, I got this conviction after finishing my inquiry into Indigenous and Christian traditions together, whether there is common ground, and especially after reading this book, this historical book called One Blood, 200 Years of Christian and Aboriginal Encounter in Australia. That book is named after this statement from the Old Testament, One Blood from Genesis, which reads, God had made of one blood all nations of men for to dwell on all the face of the earth. So the early missionaries used this statement as a lever, as a justification, as the grounds for supporting the survival of Aboriginal people who are not even considered human in the late 18th and then throughout the 19th century, right? So that was back then. So if you're interested in that whole thing, go to the video description and there is a video and also a link to the article. Now today we are going to focus on something else that I missed last time, and that is the curse of Ham. It's an important piece of the puzzle that deserves attention because it shaped how the Christian missionaries viewed Aboriginal people. I am Jan from sustainablebutterflies.com.au, and on the screen you see my 5 pillars of sustainability, and you might be wondering, how the hell is this related to sustainability, Christianity and missionaries? It's got nothing to do with plants or energy reduction or waste or water, any of that. Well, here is why. I believe that these things on the surface, energy reduction, waste and water and all that, that's important. However, that's all propelled from deeper, from underneath by these principles such as religion, philosophy, history, art, these pillars of our society. And if we don't address it, then we are risking just to be too superficial, just being here on the surface. So that's why these things deserve our attention and they need to be on the table. But back to that original statement of one blood, all men are of one blood. Now, if you read this statement, you might conclude that the Christian missionaries then treated Aboriginal people as equal, right? Because if everyone is of one blood, doesn't it mean that Aboriginal people are equal? It should, by looking at that statement. Well, unfortunately, no, that's not what it meant. It meant that they are human, which is fantastic, especially in the mid-1800s, where the dominant view was not that they are human, right? So that was awesome, but it still meant that they were considered inferior, uncivilized, and barbaric. But if everyone is of one blood, why not equal? Well, because of the curse of Ham. There is this story in the Old Testament where Noah from the ark, after he successfully plants a vineyard and makes wine, falls asleep naked, drunk, inside of his tent. And one of his sons, Ham, sees his father naked inside of his tent. Ham walks outside where his 2 brothers, Noah had 3 sons, so his 2 brothers are standing outside in front of the tent, and he tells his 2 brothers, "Hey brothers, our father is lying inside naked." So those 2 brothers, Japheth and Shem, they grab a garment, they take some garment and walk backwards like that, holding the garment, so they don't see the naked body of their father, and they throw that garment over their father's naked body with their heads tilted sideways, so they don't see him. Now, when Noah wakes up, he curses Kanan. Kanan was Ham's son. So Noah curses Kanan while simultaneously favors and blesses, even we could say, Japheth and Shem, those who threw the garment on him. Here is the curse. Cursed be Kanan, the lowest of slaves will he be to his brothers. He also said, Praise be the Lord, the God of Shem. May Canaan be the slave of Shem. May God extend Japheth's territory. May Japheth live in the tents of Shem, and may Canaan be the slave of Japheth. Right? So, from this curse, it's quite obvious who is favored, Japheth and Shem, and notice the sort of use of slaves and territories, etc. And it's quite obvious as well who is not favored, actually cursed. It's Canaan, right? Now, if you're wondering, why did Noah curse Canaan, Ham's son, and not Ham? No one knows. This has been debated for 3,000 years. And this curse had far-reaching consequences. Now, back in the old days, and we're talking 3,500 years ago, Genesis, Old Testament, these ancient figures, all people were actually considered to be descendants of Noah, and then his descendants, and then their descendants, and their wives, of course. And these ancient figures were like ancestors, forefathers of various tribes and nations later, occupying various territories and lands of the known world. Now, Japheth was ancestor of Europeans, Shem was ancestor of Semites, and Ham, the cursed one, through his son Canaan, was ancestor of Africans. Now, Japheth and Shem were those two brothers who covered their father's naked body and who were blessed or favored during the utterance of the curse, whereas Canaan, Ham's son, was cursed, ancestor of Africans, and cursed through his son, which then meant that all black people in Africa, Ham had 4 sons, Canaan was just one of them, but that misinterpretation of Bible was used to apply to all descendants of Ham. That means all Africans, and there are black people in Africa obviously, that means all black people. And this misinterpretation, which doesn't even mention skin color, and that curse is not even targeting Ham, it's targeting Canaan, who is only 1 out of 4 sons, right? That had been used as a justification for slavery from Africa to America, of the apartheid and in South Africa, and also of the warped view, this kind of view that Aboriginal people are inferior by these Christian missionaries, right? Having considered this curse of Ham, you might be thinking, well, thanks God, but pun intended, that we have come out, we have progressed, and we out of these times when this was actually seriously debated, this misinterpretation of Bible and curse of Ham, right? And we now more modern, and religion is no longer a big deal and fantastic, we can just keep going, right? Well, I understand if you think that way, but let me offer a different perspective. Back in the mid-1800s, back when the missionaries were looking at Aboriginal people through the curse of Ham lens, right? What was the dominant position? What was the dominant view of Aboriginal people? Back then, revolutionary Darwinian theory, mid-1800s, that was new, progressivism, rationalism, mechanism, biology, and science. And the majority of people were looking at Aboriginal people through the lens of these species are unfit for survival and we can just kill them, and that's what they were doing. They were also misinterpreting their book, the theory, the origin of species. It's called The Origin of Species by the Means of Natural Selection. That's how Darwin titled his revolutionary book that is known since then, changed the whole world, right? And that by means of natural selection means that the nature does the selecting. There's not one species that does selecting. So, right? So, but they actually concluded that that Aboriginal people are not even human, right? So now, when you contrast these two wrong views, which view actually helped to Aboriginal people to survive? It was the wrong and warped and bad curse of Ham view of the missionaries, who, however, had higher principle above this curse, because yes, Ham is cursed, but that means he's human. He's descendant of Noah, he's descendant of Adam. That means that the rule of one blood applies, and therefore we need to help these people, and that's what the missionaries did, as Harris meticulously proves throughout his book. Whereas had it been just by this cold, rationalistic, so-called scientific view, right? Had that won, there would be no Aboriginal people left. In my opinion, it's my conviction. And that's why this story proves to me that science, progress, this just rationalism, mechanism, that is not good enough. There needs to be, because it doesn't have anything above it, that reason itself is like it's the best thing that could be. There is nothing above it that would what would you say? It would kind of restrict it in a good way, right? Whereas religion, ethics and morality, at least it has something above, some kind of ceiling beyond, you draw the line and you don't cross that line. And that's what the missionaries had in that one blood, even though they considered Aboriginal people cursed, right? So anyway, that was Curse of Ham, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks. Bye.